Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for the match reaction. Chelsea did lose 3-1 on the night to 2-1 on the night to Real Madrid. We will be discussing that internally. We've got player ratings to do as well. Just want to check what's going on with Fabrizio Romano because he's just done something. Is it about us? Is it someone else? Right, Liverpool exploring in move for Martins with Mendy. Okay, interesting. But not interesting to us because we don't care. So, yeah, we've got that. We're going to do a little bit of talk about there's not much going on with transfers really in the day that we spoke yesterday, which was more of a main transfer show for you guys. But we will discuss some bits to go through, player ratings as well. More to talk about the game as well, the holes, the areas that we feel we can improve on, etc. Lots to discuss. Smash the likes, guys. If you're new here as well, come and say hello in the chat, guys. Share it out, guys, as well, please. Also, we are earlier than we usually are at the moment as well. So please share it out, smash the likes, and let's cue that intro. Welcome back to GNA TV and Chelsea Fan TV for a match reaction show for you guys. Real Madrid 2, Chelsea 1. Did watch it. I watched most of the game. It was a late one, but it was worth it. I thought it was a good game. It was a good game to watch. Lots to talk about, though. Lots to get into again. Same old mistakes with the defence as well, which we're going to be talking about. We've got the panel to join us as well, who I'll be dropping the link to very soon. They'll be in shortly. It's going to be more of a shorter sort of review, and then we'll do the player ratings with the panel as well. So I'll put that note in there now, actually. Just tell them so they know. So let's do that. How are you all doing in the chat? What were your thoughts about yesterday, guys? I'd like to know how you feel. We've got some videos to go through from last night's game, which we will discuss a bit more in detail, and I think it's worth talking about. How are we feeling about the preseason so far? Well, we've won 1, we've lost 2, and drawn 1, I think it is. Doesn't look the greatest to the eye. Doesn't look the greatest on paper, to be quite honest with you. But this is what happens when you're tampering with a new system. This is what happens when you're trying to learn your roles, positions. You know, it's different because I keep saying it's very high risk. It's going to expose a lot of these players in the team as well, and we've seen that. But I just think it's very important that we remain calm at the moment still of it all. You know, we knew that this was going to be a bit of an up and down rocky road. We've seen it before with managers before, but it's just about how we move going forward. And there are, for me, there are some tactical things that they still need to address and they're working on, and I get that. And I do think we'll analyze that. But there's also some personal things that go further than Maresca for me, like stuff that I've seen from last season that we're continuing to still do now. The same sort of things, you know. So, guys, there's nearly 100 people in the building. Make sure you're hitting the likes, guys. I need everyone to run out the likes. Let's talk to people in the chat before we get into things. How can the 2 inverted fullbacks be accused of being too high when their new job is to invert and push 10 yards up into the midfield? I think Enzo is having one with this particular question. 2 inverted fullbacks. Well, it was only Gusto that inverts, really. Reece James has kind of stopped these sort of inverting areas to me. There is a bit of an issue, more so in this first and the second half for me, for the midfield space to the defence. I think that gap's a bit too big, in my opinion. And that's why we kept sort of getting exposed. We're playing with the inverted left back in Gusto, for example, to allow Enzo to be further up the pitch. We're committing more players forward. The one thing I will say, which is looking better to the eye, in my opinion, is obviously how we attack. And we attack with fluidity. We attack with a style. And I like the way we attack. It's just that end bit of what we're trying to do, you know, and just putting it in the back of the net. And there was times where we ripped them apart, to be quite honest with you, with some good football, one-touch football, and you could see it. But it's just these players gaining the confidence, you know, gaining the confidence and playing to that same sort of, you know, that same sort of standards each in and each out. And consistency is one of the biggest issues with for me, with this club at the moment, with this team, with a bunch of players, is the consistency. Find your consistency, get used to your patterns, you know, and execute your patterns each and every game that we move forward. And that hopefully will come. We've still got no Jackson, no Palmer, no Cucurella, players that can have an effect on the team who were still not in the team yet. So we've not really got a full visual of how we look with a full strengthened squad, who plays where. I think the Inter Milan game will be telling. The problem we have is Jackson's not played for a while. Is he going to be fit for City? It doesn't look like it really. Will he play against Inter Milan? I expect him to. I expect Palmer to as well. But they're going to have to build up their fitness. And obviously, our first game is up against Man City as well, which is a big game. And I'm glad that we're playing them earlier rather than later. I'm not going to lie, not crazy about the excuses I've been hearing already from this manager. Excuses? I don't know. Am I the only one who thinks that it's such a shame that Gusto is not allowed to maraud down the right-hand side? Yes, I agree. We don't have overlapping fullbacks anymore. What we have is wingers that hold the width, and we have more players occupying the middle of the spaces in the 8s, in the 10s, striker. And it's a different style, guys, but you need to understand that it's just a different style right now. He may change it later on, and we might have fullbacks that maraud up and down. Maybe that becomes the case. But at this moment in time, this is how he wants to play, and this is how he wants to execute it. And I don't think it's bad. I just think it's high risk and different. Joey, how are we? Welcome. Dean, good to see you as well. No, I haven't got Dean. Funny enough, I haven't got any numbers other than Thiago Silva on the back of one of them. I haven't got any on there, guys. Nearly 100 people in the building. Come and say hello. Dale said it was shit. Steve, how you doing, bro? Good to see you. Welcome, guys. Please make sure we're hitting the thumbs. Go, 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 go. If you're not hitting the likes, what are we doing here, guys? What are we doing here? Results are not important this season. Needs to be critical and see what we can do, and it's improvements. Listen, I keep saying this. And I think, obviously, Ad said it in the group chat yesterday, which is quite true. I'd rather us have problems defensively than have problems going forward. If it's the other way around, I'll be a little bit more worried. And one of the biggest problems with us is the other way around. And I feel like with the other way around, it's kind of ticking. Right, we still need maybe that Jackson. We'll see what Jackson's like up front. Maybe we end up getting a striker. I don't know. But, it looks better going forward, Good question, Tech, and we're going to talk about that. We've got player ratings today, which means we're going to actually talk about the players in depth. If you look at his overall pre-seasons, he's had 3 goals, 1 assist. His numbers, you look at it, not too bad per game. I just think he could be so much more effective, and I think he's just very wasteful. I just think he's very, very wasteful, especially in the final third, and he frustrated me in the second half. He kind of got pocketed by the left back of Real Madrid. He's dribbling, his decision making in the final third is poor. He's continuously poor. And he just has this way about him, this attitude, I'm the man, I do what I want, sort of attitude. And, I like Madueke, and he is one of the only options we've got on the right. But I do think Palmer, and I keep saying it, will have to play on the right because we have no other options there. You could have got Mudryk and Sterling on the other side, but then on the right, we only have Madueke, and he can't play every game for me. Palmer comes in, I do think he'll play off the right. I might be wrong. He might be in the middle, and Cuckoo might be focused on the left, and you might even see Sterling going out on the right with Madueke, and then you might have a rotation. But we have variation, and we have options, What for excuses is this fair so weird if this is how, man? Yeah, I don't know what the excuse. I'm a little bit confused why people are a little bit annoyed with Maresca, to be quite honest. We lack real leadership on the pitch. Reece isn't vocal. I agree with that. We need someone to bark orders and teammates. All right. So we've had some interesting messages, actually, interesting tweets in and around the captain side of things. And we're going to get into all of it now. Come on, guys that are coming now, 100 people in the building. What we're saying, guys, I would probably agree with that, to be quite honest. It's just that his language barrier is an issue, but then Thiago Silva had the language barrier. He is the vice captain. We're going to get into that in a second. Now, in terms of transfer news, there's not much really to talk about, guys, other than the news that we already know about, which I'll highlight again, and we'll get quickly people's thoughts, is that Samu Amadorian to Chelsea is the last piece of the puzzle in the trio that has been going on between Atletico Madrid and Chelsea. Alvarez and Gallagher is a here we go and confirmed. Gallagher is leaving the football club, as the majority, or I'll say a lot of people have wanted to see. But in return to this agreement, we have got Samu Amadorian supposedly for 34.5 million, final fee to be paid. We know Gallagher's medical's Wednesday. We're still waiting on the small negotiations to be agreed. Supposedly this is a done deal. We had a bit of a discussion about this yesterday on how we feel about the signing. A lot of us are a little bit confused. There's also still talks about the Osherman deal going on. Maybe that can still happen. And we're being told at a later stage this could go to all the way to the end of the window just because Chelsea want one thing, Napoli want another. Osherman doesn't want a loan. So that kind of flushed it out for both the clubs. So, there's a lot going on in that area, but we do need strikers. And I agree. And I'd rather us have, and I keep saying, 3 strikers available. Bringing him in gives us 3 strikers. He's a different type of striker. He's very raw. I don't know specifically what his levels are in terms of what he can reach because we've not been able to see enough of that. But at the same time, there's a lot of question marks around not that the target can't really be on Samu because of where he is at this moment in time. The guy needs to play football. Coming to Chelsea, he might not get that, which means he won't be able to develop. That's my only real big question with Samu coming to Chelsea. We need, if playing 20 minutes in games and a couple of conferences and maybe a couple of cup games, it's not going to be enough for someone like him who probably needs a lot of time. And this is why I think the timing, and this is where I look at the board, because if this doesn't work for me, I'm looking at Winstanley and Stewart face on. This isn't a Samu problem. This is them. Because again, they've brought in another player that they want us to go and develop, along with Jackson, along with Mark Guiu, Mark Guiu as well. Like, there comes a point where you have your development players that you need to work on, but then you should also try and add a little bit of experience. And this is why Victor Osimhen, what's going on with the Lukaku thing and them wanting Lukaku, maybe should have been something we should have looked at, whether it was paying an extra 35 million. That 35 million that you've got there could have gone over there and you could have got him in. And we could have had a mixture of a bit of experience, someone that will play, and Jackson, who you can utilise maybe off the left, also play up front. He'll get the minutes, I think, anyway, especially with the left-hand side not being held. So it's a weird one, It's a weird one. 150 people in the building. How are we doing, guys? Good to see you all. Thoughts on Liverpool if we sign Zubimendi? Very good player if it happens. Liverpool making good signings. Not that many signings, though, Ram. I thought you'd have made more signings, to be quite honest with you. However, your squad looks quite good, providing it stays fit. So big up to you, and let's see what happens later with Liverpool. I'm intrigued to see how you play. I'm not going to lie, I've not watched enough of Liverpool yet. We are finishing mid-table this season. Just watch. Stephen thinks we're finishing mid-table. Adoring it doesn't excite me. It's just potential. Yeah, he is, but how big is that potential? Where does that potential go with him is the question mark. Right. Like I said, yeah, not much really to talk about when it comes to transfer stuff. So we're going to move away from Samu. Any news that does break, we'll come back and assess that. What I want to talk about is yesterday on Enzo Maresca's comments as well. One of the ones that I want to review is Chessie Hour's comments, which was about Maresca saying this is quite damning for Maresca, and it speaks to what I've been saying about these owners for a while. Whilst it's their club and their money, they can do whatever. There needs to come a point where they stop looking at doing these ridiculous preseason tours in America where they parade the club from pillar to post, start giving their coaches a chance to impart their ideas onto the players, staying stationary for a period of time. The flying every 1 to 2 days isn't sensible, and it's hardly a pre-season. Throwing in loads of games in that period also isn't helpful because the idea are formulated on the training pitch and there's not as games. Glad this tour is over, blah, 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 blah. I agree with it partly because I think the issue you have, and look, the reason they do these preseason tours is just for global marketing and global branding. They want to try and just, get Chelsea out there as much as possible, get as many fans interested as Chelsea as much as possible. Maresca came out with his comments here saying that it was a good moment coming into the USA for different reasons to see the fans from outside the UK in this moment. The ideal situation would be to prepare for the games, but for most of the games we have been without preparation. That ain't good. Basically, because they're traveling, they're having to go and see this person, they're having to go do that. They're not really concentrating on the pitch as much as he wants them to. We didn't prepare the game with the training sessions like we are used to doing during a normal season. For some of the games, we just prepared with a video or a tactical ball. So these guys are not even on the pitch. They're just looking at a video and where to be and what they need to do, which, okay, it's not bad. They can pick that up. But playing and looking is two different things, For me, the real preseason has to be been the 2 weeks at Cobham and the week or 10 days we have at Cobham. Here it's been a bit of a mixed feeling. So Maresca's kind of made it very clear. And listen, I'm glad that he's coming out and saying that. Just being honest about the situation. It's not ideal. He wants more time on the pitch. And now an Inter Milan game away, and then next weekend we're up against Man City. So he's got now. They should be back. They're flying back today. They'll be training all the way to the Inter Milan game, which is Sunday. Right, fine, that's good. And then they've only got 1 week next week to implement everything before they get into Man City. Like, do you know what I mean? These owners don't understand that fans are only interested in winning teams, not losers. It's clear to see. Good to hear from you, Terry. Hope you will. Blaming Poch is lame. I would say blame Jim. I will say Chelsea fans like Ches and Don are annoying as hell. Hell, fans like Dave and you are actually level-headed. I've always been, mate. I've always been. I always say it as I see it. Don't mean that I'm always right, but I will always try and say, I think Don's all right. I think Don and Ches are all right. I just think they like going back and forwards with you guys. They don't take crap. That's what it is. They don't take crap. That's what it is, man. You can have many opinions on Enzo Fernandez, but you can't tell me he's not passionate. He's not passionate and wants to improve. Oh, listen, the one thing I'll say about Enzo Fernandez in a short space of time, which I like, is the adaptation. The fact that he sees how we play 1 point, and then he comes out and says, "I don't like it." He doesn't sit there quiet, saying anything, and stays naive about the whole situation. You know. For me, there's, like he that's good and being vocal, and that's funny where we're going on to the next part of it, which is you guys talking about him blaming Poch. I wouldn't say he's blaming Poch. I think he's just showing what he's saying is. I think what he's trying to explain is that there's bad habits being picked up from other individuals.
Season since day one. One of my first meeting with the players, with the squad, was the amount of goal that we conceded last year with defensive line very high. It's something that we are trying to work. And today, I think offensively, once again, the team is there because the patterns they are there. We create chances. The problem has been defensively. When I say defensively, it's not just the defensive line; it's in general, all the players. But overall, now it's finished. We come back to London, and from there we're gonna start Inter and then official game.
Just explain with the high line what the idea is. Are you asking the players to play the high line and just need to get it perfect, or is it something they're doing based on habit from last season?
It's a habit. It's a habit. We are not working on defensive line so higher. It's a habit that I don't know. It's from last year or from years ago. I don't know, but we are trying to drop a little bit the defensive line, no more than 4 or 5 meters, just to have some advantage. Don't concede the ball in behind. But as I said, last year we already conceded many goals with this problem, and hopefully we can solve very soon.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with what he's saying there, guys. I'm not going to lie. And he didn't say it was a habit. The actual person that was interviewing him or press conferencing in the chat in the live was said to him, "Is it something that's because of what you're doing, or is it just a habit? Is it a habit from last year?" They said to him, and he said, "Yeah, I think it's a habit from last year because we played." We played with high lines last year and we were getting exposed for the same things. And if you guys can't see yourselves what he's talking about, yeah, I can see it already. I've been saying it for a while. This isn't new, what he's saying. When he says habits, he's kind of just not going into detail about what's being seen. But I can kind of think of what he's probably talking about. And we're going to go into it in a bit at the end of the day. Like there's certain things that fall outside of the system side of things for me. Do you know what I mean? That fall out of the system side of things for me. And when he says habits, there's certain things that we're going to look at in a minute, which I think he's right. Like, big up, Jim. Great stream up the Chelsea. JT, good to see you. I have faith in his team. And so do I. I don't have problems with him calling things out. I want him to call things out. I don't want him sitting there quiet. being naive, just letting everyone just do the same thing. Well, we just do the same thing again, but we're saying nothing. I don't want that. I want someone that's actually going to come out and be like, nah, like, it's not good enough. Like, we've got some bad habits. There is some bad habits. Guess what? At defense, have some really stinky habits. And I saw it from last season, and I'm still seeing it now. So whether people like it or not, it's not blaming the manager. He's not specifically saying that it's Poch's fault. He's saying that there's habits that the players have had for either last season. He said last season or a couple of years that are not good habits that he doesn't like, especially in the way that he wants to play, that they need to flush out, that they need to be more alert, that they need to be more proactive, that they need to know where their surroundings are, for example. When you're growing up being a defender, one of the most important things, forgetting about systems and what you need to do, one of the most important things is understanding, being aware, checking over your shoulders, and being aware to danger, being alert. Why do you think Thiago Silva was so good all the way up to his 40, 41? What made him so good? He's reading of the game. It was his reading of his game. And for some of these guys to not even have learned that from him is weird. In fact, the one that actually learned from him the most is being blimmin' sold. Chalobah. Chalobah's the only one I look at and I think, well, he's actually improved. And he represents, he's slowly, you can see he's picked up a lot from Thiago Silva in how he's even playing. Matureness, being aware, not being rash, where to be in the pitch, reading the game well. So at the end of the day, he's like what he's saying for me, he's right. He merits it for me. Of course, partly it can be system and high line, like 100%. But we were playing like this last season. It's not just specifically about the tactics and system. It's about the players as well. We have some defensive issues, for sure. We've had defensive issues for a while. Exactly. It's just that they need to sort it out. There's certain bozo moments that they have, or just, we're going to talk about it in a minute. I'm going to go into a minute. Yeah, listen, the defense is a problem. He's not skipping it. He said it. Defense is an issue. Dills, big up to you. Like, we've got problems at the moment with the defense. There's some habits that I don't like. I agree with him. I don't like the habits. I don't like the habits. He could use the bad habits excuse right now, but you get 10 games in and I'm not hearing that excuse anymore. I hear that. But then again, it all falls down to the players, doesn't it, as well? Because we can sit here and moan about tactically and whatever. But if we're getting opened up like we were yesterday in the first half for basic defending duties, then the question mark, like I keep saying I've been saying since Maresca's come here, the question mark should be on the players. Because as I've already said, this system is going to expose them. It is going to expose them because it's fluid. It's because of how we want to play. It's because we like having more of the ball. It's because we want to get the key players on the balls and move the balls forwards quickly. It's because we want to break teams down quickly. It's the way he wants to play. That's his system. But it also comes with a high risk factor. And you need to be ready. You need to be alert. You need to be 5 seconds ahead of the game. You have to be ahead of the game. And that's what it's going to require. And I don't think some of our defenders are that. They're just 2 seconds behind all the time. They sleep. Like basic defensive duties. Amy, big up to you. Good to see you. Hope you're well. Mitch, reminder with the state of these wingers. Yeah, and listen, the wingers is another thing we're going to talk about as well. Like, we can't ignore it. Like, the pitch is a lot bigger than the fridge, to be fair. It's true, Cameron. Daniel, how you doing? But anyway, let's get into it. Let's get into some more comments here. Right, 24 minutes in. Let's go. Let's go, because we've got the boys coming soon. So one of these other comments were about Enzo Fernandez. Enzo Fernandez is the right, whether he's Enzo Resca on whether Enzo Fernandez is the vice captain. Enzo is one of the most important players, to be honest. I think Reece James, when we changed him, he gave the armband to Enzo. This shows how Enzo is respected inside the squad. And I think it's quite clear. Listen, I've always said that I felt Enzo Fernandez is one of the players in the team that I would look at as a leader. I see that. The language barrier is a bit of an issue, but he's learning English. We know that, and whatever. But I look at him as one of the players that we look to. Yeah. Especially for the amount of money we spent. I want him to have leadership qualities. We should want him to have leadership qualities. So at the end of the day, giving the ban to Enzo Fernandez, well, he can. He can speak a bit. He's learning deals. It's a bit. Thiago Silva couldn't speak it, and he was our captain. Do you know what I mean? Like they can get around it, man. Like, do you know what I mean? No, he is. He's speaking English. He's working on it. And to be fair to him, he's actually trying to speak English. He's got That's one of the things that they've been talking about, haven't they? He's having English lessons at the moment, so he's trying. I'd rather us to give it to Nkunku. Nah, Nkunku's not a leader for me. Deals. Nkunku ain't a leader. I can't have Nkunku. I mean, he's a leader in different ways, but he's not a vocal leader. Nkunku's just that guy. He's just that swerve guy, isn't it? Like, don't get me wrong. I don't think he had the most greatest game yesterday, but I don't think he was bad. But he's just that guy. You just need to get like Palmer. You just let him get on with it. That's just what they do. Guys, 200 people in the building. We haven't got many leaders in the blimmin' team anyway. So, who are you going to pick? Because Colwill, Fofana, Disasi, all these lot, none of our defenders really deserve it. Just even the way that they're playing. Cucurella? You want Cucurella to be a leader when he comes back? Reece James is just quiet. Doesn't talk. Wouldn't say he's a leader, but yeah. Caicedo and Lavia ain't ready for it. Mudryk won't. Sterling should be ready for it. He should be one of the ones actually stepping up and taking control of the situation, but he is in his own bubble. So tossing maybe, but it's too early. You can't give tossing it anyway. So I have no issues with that, in all fairness. Jorgenson. Let's talk about him quickly. We're going to do player ratings soon. That's why I skipped from Enzo, because we're going to talk about him on the pitch. But Jorgenson yesterday, for me, I love the win. I hate to lose, so I'm happy with the result. I'm happy to get more minutes, and I'm looking forward to it. Listen, he got a bit of stick with the goal, and I think even I was a bit like, what are you doing a little bit? But his overall game after that was pretty good. What I would say, he's better than Sanchez from what I've seen in a short space of time. He's better than Sanchez and Petrovic and anyone else that's there at playing out with the ball at his feet. Like the amount of times this guy, I was like, had literally my foot in my mouth, where I was sitting there thinking to myself, he's going to get caught. And he just like shimmy it from his right onto his left, and he'd play it out of his left. Like he can play with both feet very comfortably. And I like that. There was times where Madrid were literally in our face and they gave us problems, and he was just pinging it, So that's a big tick for me. Like that's a very big in the way that we're trying to play at the moment, with the higher risk factor, how high he's playing up, how when we get pressed and they come after him, he's comfortable, he makes the right pass. I like that. Hey, Blue Lounge, good to see you. How are you, brother? As always, good to see you. Our key to our success was building a solid defence. Maresca seems to be looking to build an attack, but with a solid defence, it's hard to win titles. I don't think he's not trying to build a defence. I think the worry here is, if we look at the defence too much, will it affect the attack? Will we still be as fluid? I don't think it's even that. I think he needs to find a balance. We know that. I think little things like getting the defenders to take a yard step back, maybe, rather than being as high as they are, could help. Asking Lavia not to be so far away from the defence and maybe hold his position a bit better. Because there's many times in the first half with Lavia, for me, he just seemed to be a little bit exposed. Gusto was coming in there, but as soon as we were off ball, he went back to left and left Lavia exposed. But the second half, it changed because we went to a pivot and Enzo dropped in next to him and the spaces were not there as much. And Real Madrid were very quiet in the second half. We kept them very quiet. So it goes to show the differences in how we can play and maybe how it can work better with balance against specific teams. Because against Real Madrid, Man City, Arsenal, all these teams, they're going to come out, press, attack, and try and win the ball high. So maybe you're better off not having the inverted player, or having the inverted player in moments in the game, but always having someone sort of dropping in off ball in the pivot. If it's Enzo, if it's Caicedo, these are the little things, minute things that Maresca has to look at and go, this is what we need to do to kind of get it to be balanced from start to finish all the way through, Like, these are the things. Big up though, bro. Good to see you as always, man. Good to see you as all. Guys, we've got over 200 people in the building right now across all platforms. Good to see you all here. I hope you're all well. The players need to adopt. Yeah, of course they do. Like, there's no, like, we can't ignore they still need time. Like, I'm not even ignoring that. Of course they do. I think Palmer is back. He is for the next game. And Nkunku left wing is a good shout. I think the left wing is an area that's not really been taken up. Sterling and Mudryk have not really took it. I think Sterling's not been too bad pre-season until yesterday. But Nkunku could come in and Nkunku could easily play off the left. Palmer could play in the middle. Madueke off the right. But then you could easily play Palmer off the right, Nkunku in the middle, and Jackson off the left. And if we've got a striker up front, maybe Samu or Guiu or whatever, they could play up. So what I would say with the attackers is a lot of fluidity and versatility. Keeping them fit is another story. You know, that's the most important thing. But yeah, that's Jorgenson. Right, let's look at these goals before we get into, because I'm ticking on behind time here as well. Let's quickly have a look at these goals quickly, and then we'll get the panel in and we'll do the rating as well. So this is first or second goal, I can't even remember, right? So Reece James gets beaten with an easy ball here. And I should have probably got another clip up because we need to go 2 seconds back on this one for me. 2 seconds back. But the one big thing that kills me here is the amount of ball watching. Our play defenders love to ball watch, all of them. They ball watch so much that they forget about the runs behind them. They don't look behind their shoulders. They're not aware of what's around them, the surroundings, where to position themselves. They just stare at the ball. And by the time that guy's made the run and the ball's made, they're so out of position. It's ridiculous. But what kills me here is Badiashile. Badiashile, again, in this position. Because, all right, Colwell's ball watching a bit too much and not looking over his shoulder. That's annoying. But Badiashile can clearly see that the run's being made. But he decides to make runs. Look, his reactions are so damn late. So late, right? That it's like he's 2 seconds. It's like he doesn't see danger until 2 seconds later. So he gets to here and we're caught out. So in this position here, we're backtracking here. All right. Jorgenson's going to have to commit here. He's got no choice. Badiashile is semi-running. Jorgenson's come out. He stood up. Rather than dive in, he stood up. He's tried to hold him. Give Badiashile enough time to sprint back in. Now, what would be the difference if you'd have had Thiago Silva in this position of Badiashile right now? What would have been the difference? Thiago Silva would have been here by now. Thiago Silva would have been where my mouse cursor is now, here. He would have been here. He would have been predicting that he's going to get around the goalie and he's going to make the pass in here. Badiashile isn't even thinking that. He's jogging still. Look. Look, he's still not alert to the danger. Look. And if he just kind of just stops. If he'd have just put himself, he would have just kicked it out for a corner. Thiago Silva would have been there. So when he shoots, he would have just kicked it out. He would have stopped that goal. I'm telling you. But he doesn't. And even when they take the shot, look, he's still jogging. And then he's got the audacity to turn around and have the ump with everyone else. Like, Jorgenson, I think, has done okay. I think Jorgenson's done the right thing. I think he's trying to hold him up as much as possible. He can't do anything else. He either dives in or he stands up. There's not much he can really do. And he's tried to stop it there. He's reached out. But Badiashile, look at him. Even here. My man, slide tackle. Look how tall you are. Slide. Do something. Like, all right, you could be a couple steps back because you've not reacted to the danger quickly. But my man's just jogging. Just letting it roll in the back of the net. Like, two things there. And this is why he goes and talks about bad habits. One, reaction to danger. Because he sees the striker, but he waits until it's too late, which means the pass is made and the striker's already made a run in behind. So you've already mucked that bit up. Okay. So what should be your next element? What should be your next part of what you should be doing here? It's, okay, I've been caught out here. I should have reacted quicker. Let me sprint back quickly while Jorgenson's holding him up and get here. Let me try and block it. My man's just like waiting to be assisted. Look at him. My man's waiting for the ball to come across so he can pass it in like he's a striker for Real Madrid. Look, pass it to me. I'm here. Pass it. I'm sorry, it's poor. It's absolutely poor. And I can't accept that's Maresca's fault. These are the things where I can't accept it's Maresca's fault. I'm sorry. These are things that are basic defending. If Thiago Silva's there, that ain't a goal. I'm telling you now, that is not a goal. In fact, if Trevor Chalobah was there, that ain't a goal. Do you know what I mean? Big up deals. It ain't a goal. It just ain't a goal. And this is the problem going into next season. I don't trust these defenders. None of them. None of them have learned enough from Thiago Silva for me. And I hope that they do manage to adapt, obviously, to the system, or we tweak the system to help them, and they improve with these silly bad habits that they are having. Because this is defensive. These things are a defensive problem for me. I don't think Badiashile should be starting, in my opinion. I don't think he should be. And then we go on to the second one, or the first one. Was this the first one? I think this is the first goal. I can't remember what order it is in. Then we get to this one, right? So I need to zoom out here. So this ain't even just Badiashile right now, okay? This just isn't him. This ain't just him. This is Colwill as well, all right? Let's watch both in this instance. You ready? So the ball comes in here. Now, Lavia, and this is the problem we had most of the first half. The gap between the defence and midfield is just too big. Look at this. It's easy. Pass into there. Runs can made behind. The line is all the way up to the halfway line. Like, take a yard step back. Like, come here. Like, that's the tactical element of it, okay? Where I'm like, take a step back. You're well too close. But then then you get the midfield to just take a step here. So they're here rather than where they are. So they get the ball here, right? Now watch Colwill. Watch Colwill or watch Badiashile, right? Badiashile, you can see Gusto. He sees his man. Look, he's looking already. See him. Colwill knows he's got a man now. So Reece James goes to commit. And once he goes to commit, it opens up space, right? So here, my problem is Gusto, he's got a player behind him, but he's kind of like unsure what to do. He's hesitant, yeah? He can't really step up because Badiashile's, they're in a line here. They can't do anything. Basically, they're in a bit of a muddle here. They're a bit high up. So the ball gets played in behind Badiashile here, right? Okay. So, right, he's gone behind you, Badiashile. Now what are you going to do? Now watch Colwill. This is Colwill, by the way, next to the ref, yeah? Watch him. He's jogging. His man, who he's marking here, his man that he's marking here, is going, sprinting. Watch Colwill. Jog. Not even running. Badiashile, and this is where Badiashile gets it wrong. Look at Colwill. He's still jogging. So Gusto's had to cut in to cover for Colwill because Colwill's lazy as hell, just jogging, not even sprinting back. So Badiashile's holding him up here. But what Badiashile does wrong here is that he doesn't commit. This guy doesn't make a tackle. As soon as you're face on him, I've noticed, he don't go in, he doesn't assert himself. He just kind of just stands there like this. So he stands. Yeah, he gets caught wrong-footed here. Cole's still jogging back, by the way. Well, Cole's still jogging back here. He's not even running back. Look, and even the wingers are quiet with him. That's how slow he is. He's just jogging back. So then they cut inside here. And, like, my thing here is, all right, Badiashile can't do much here, right? He's got to here and he's trying to hold him up. If he goes to the ball, he can just play a ball here and Vinicius is through because Colwill is being lazy. So, like, but then he just gets, like, so easily turned. Look, it just turns like a truck. Like, he can't do anything. Like, he doesn't even really do much. It's just like a mannequin standing there, in my opinion. Yeah, and then Colwill, still jogging back, gets in. They have a lucky little deflection. And between the three of them, between swinging a leg here and between Badiashile, it goes behind them and into the back of the net. There's just so many things wrong with that goal. So many things wrong with that goal. Colwill jogging, ridiculous. It's just pathetic, lazy. Really annoyed me. That's nothing to do with tactics, guys. That's nothing to do with system. Where we can talk about the system is when the ball was being played and how high they were up halfway line. Yeah, take a step back. Maybe they don't, maybe they don't find that ball better, or the defense are just in a better position to recover. So it makes it harder for them to play behind, right? That we can say, yeah. But everything after that is just poo. Cole will letting Vinicius run off and not even running back. Badiashile just being a mannequin, honestly, in my opinion. It's just poor. He doesn't engage. That's it. He doesn't engage. That's his biggest problem. They don't engage. So it's poor. In other news, Vinny can once again be found in Reece James's pocket. I don't think so. Vinny gave Reece James heller in the first half. I think James come back into it, but don't get me wrong. But he was getting pumped at the beginning in the first half. Reece James, I agree. For the defensive. So my point here is tactically, yeah, we need to amend it, drop him back a bit. Fine, we can do that. Yeah, that will help them being exposed to the danger because they're just not alert enough for me, and that's it for me. They're just not alert enough, and that is my biggest problem going into next season or even against City. Nah, Josh, he skinned him at the beginning, mate. I'm going to disagree with that. He got skinned at the beginning. He nearly scored. He fucking went in between him in the box and nearly scored. And then there was this. And this is Badiashile. This is just to sum up Badiashile. I'm sorry. This is not asking Badiashile to do something out of this world, just a basic defending. All right. So again, we get caught behind high line. Okay, I get that. He gets the ball here. And this is exactly the same as the goal that we conceded. Look, he doesn't impose. He doesn't do anything. He just stands there. And again, guess what? The guy, every time he gets wrong-footed, he can't turn. Look, he just can't turn quick enough. He just can't turn quick enough. It's poor. And he doesn't look just poor. And then we have another one. Gets him behind here. And that's the goal, is it? Oh, that's the goal. So, yeah, just ultimately very poor. Now, going on to the positives. What is the positives of yesterday's games? Well, some of the goals, like this one. And by the way, what a ball by Enzo Fernandez. Receives the ball here. And this is what Enzo's about. I thought Enzo had a good game yesterday, by the way. I thought he was good. Not amazing. He can do much better. For someone that, likes Enzo a lot. I expect more from him. But what we saw from him in the midfield off the left, I liked it. And this is what he can do. Because that is a dime of a ball. What a ball. And Madueke, arriving at the back, boom. Good header, good finish, good goal. That's a good example of what we can do or what Enzo can do in creating. We like to see that. It is, but it's what we saw last year as well. And that's what worries me, Josh, because I've been talking about this last year and they still don't have this like alert to danger thing until it's too late. It's like 2 seconds after they react. They're the little things that get me. He did. But yeah, good goal. Very good goal there. And to give you an example of the style, and I want to get the boys in as well because we're going to do a quick player rating as well. Let's get them in. Let's get them in. Hey, 300 people in the book. What is wrong with this guy's car, man? Jesus Christ. Sort your car out, mate. So, a good example of Enzo ball. Here we go. Because there was patterns. There was some good patterns of play yesterday. I enjoyed the game. Because even though we went behind and defensively we were poor, we were better in the second half. Even though I don't feel we created as much. We look more stable from midfield with Enzo dropping in as a pivot, not playing the inverted as much, but in moments, which is what I think we should be doing. I think that's how we should be playing. Play the inverted in moments, not all the time, in game. Because Enzo can drop in the pivot. Caicedo can. But then they can also be further forward. And once they find themselves further forward, then drug in the inverted Gusto or Cucurella or whatever. So this is a good example yesterday of good football from us. We get the ball to the back. So we start off from the back. Colwill, I don't really want to see him playing on the right, on the side again. I'm not going to lie, I don't feel comfortable. Gets to Jorgenson. Gets the ball here. Jorgenson showed some good quality. This is a good quality pass, and he done this quite a lot in the second half. And Jorgenson impressed me with his ball playing into Enzo, who's a bit further up. Enzo receives the ball, one touch back. That completely pushes them out. They're pressing. Badiashile finds Gusto, who's playing in the inverted role. So you've got your three that are stretching out here at the moment as well. Let me just put Ches there for now. You've got your three that are stretching out here into Gusto at the moment. And then as Gusto receives the ball here, he then turns. And this is the good thing about having the inverted fullback. Gusto gets the ball and he's got options. So he goes onto the wide to Reece James, who then pings the ball over the top to Sterling, I think it is, who then finds the ball into Mark Guiu, who has the ability to play a little ball into Nkunku, and we should have scored. And that right there was just one pattern of style of play that was very good, and it was very fluid. It was very good to the eye, and I liked what we were watching. It was very, it was good, So at the end of the day, there are some positives in how we're playing and what we were trying to do yesterday. I thought it was an entertaining game. The letdown is the defenders for me, and I think they need to work on that danger, noticing danger, not being 2 seconds behind all the time, which I feel is going to, if you're going to play a high line, it's going to be a problem for us next season if they don't wake up. He's going to have to find the right defensive pairing still. That's the other thing. The chemistry is a bit everywhere. We're playing, he's trying so many different things to try and work out what's the best two, that we're not getting the fluidity as well. So that's not helping, so work that out. He needs to work that out, Maresca, and maybe just take a yard back. Like in the first half, they're up to the halfway line. Just get him to go a yard back. You're up against a team with speed. You don't need to be that high up, So, but it is the way he wants to do things, and I'm sure he will see these things and want to amend them. But Ches, what are you saying, bro? How are you?
I can hear me.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm good, man. Yeah, it's a good review of the game. I give everything you're saying, really. But on that point about the centre back, because that's the main talking point from the games, right? The fact we conceded 2-4 again, so we see quite a lot of goals, over 10 goals probably now. Bro, like, the thing is, like, you just said it yourself. When else is he meant to find out the best centre back partnership, if not in pre-season? Like, I get what everyone's saying about, like, find a solidified centre back partnership. He needs to see them in a game, even if it's friendly or not, against opposition to see how well they play.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really judge that in training. And you don't want to judge it in the league because by then it's too late. And he might have to judge it in the league. He might go, I think it's Fofana and Cole. And then in the season, we play poorly with them two and he changes it again. So, like, I think us saying he needs to find the best centre-back partnership is a bit of an obvious statement, considering they're all similar level. But, ironically, I actually don't think Badiashile is a similar level. I think he is, not just on this game, I don't really think he's a starting centre-back for us, I'll be honest. Passing out from the back, he's good, but like everything else, he's not that quick. Even, like, did you watch the Arsenal game away from home? And, like, the goals the game we lost 5-0.
Yeah. Yep.
In that game, he just played poorly as well. Like, he's very, like,
he's
dopey. He's
alert.
Slow.
He's alert.
His interceptions, he's really in the game for he's like 5-3-4 seconds, milliseconds slower than what he needs to
be that as a defender. Like, that's what I don't get. Like, how is he so behind a scene? Like, and the bad thing is for me is he actually sees like especially in the second goal or the first goal. Like Colwill, all right, they're all ball watching. They've got a habit of that. I hate it. They all ball watch. It does my head in. Yeah, but Colwill is looking where James is, and Badiashile's looking at Colwill's back. And between Colwill and Badiashile is the run. But Badiashile sees that the guy's making a run, but doesn't react. He just chills. And by the time it reacts,
he waits for the guy to get the ball and then looks to press him.
Like the goal where he runs around the goalie and passes in. If that was Thiago Silva and Chalobah, that ain't a goal, by the way.
That goal. I watched that happen. I was like, you know when like Diaz got the ball, I was thinking, cool. What he's gonna do now, Jem, he's gonna kind of shepherd the ball out and then stop. The guy just let him just cut in field.
Yeah,
he's let him.
Like he jogged back.
Like, Jem, he literally just let him cut inside on his stronger foot, right, and make a pass.
Yeah, he just
And not
hasn't
even
got
that, like you said, okay, cool. The pass goes off to not Tobias, whoever that player was on the right, Modric, I think it was. And instead of going back in your position, he just stands next to Cole's hand and holds his hand.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to do now. We're actually going to rate the goal. We're going to rate the players quickly. I want to go through the players quickly with you. I've got Josh here as well. Josh, good to see you. How do you feel about, before we get into the player ratings, how did you feel about the game overall yesterday, mate?
I mean, yeah, not too bad, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like most of the first half, outside of again, a lot of the goals that we're conceding are literally just mistakes. Even the second goal, Jorgenson, I thought had a good game. He's got to come get that ball. I mean, in most games, that's probably not, that second goal probably doesn't happen because you'd like your keeper to take the ball there. But I think he got caught in no man's land a little bit, which I think after the game he talked about how when the defense is playing such a high line, he's got to move up a bit and cover that space a bit more. And they're just learning to play with each other, so that those things will come with some time. I like offensively. I think we're doing a lot of good things. We certainly need a striker. Whether it's Samu, just Samu, or Samu and Oshiman, we definitely need another striker. I think we saw in the game before, Nkuku does not want to play that role at all. It's just not what he wants. He's way more. Yesterday, he was way more active and into the game, playing a deeper role.
I think that either one of those strikers would do a job which occupies a lot of space. Because if you think about it, the way we play with a lot of triangles and stuff, all Samu really needs to do, other than finishing, of course, is to use his strength, go into space, use his pace.
Right.
Like if he does that, he does a good job because then he drags players out, he creates the triangles on the right and left, you get the overloads, and then you got the player in the box through his pace, through his strength, that gets him the chances. I didn't just to interrupt you because I didn't get to say this before you jumped on. I don't look at yesterday's game like everyone else and start panicking and going like, it's not even that. It's like I looked literally, Josh. Yeah, I looked at Twitter yesterday, YouTube, and every single Chelsea outlet had a negative stance.
Well, that's
I didn't watch that. I didn't watch that game. Josh, Mama's Live. I didn't watch that game and go, "Oh my gosh, I'm really worried."
Yeah,
I didn't.
I
didn't watch the game and go like, "Oh, Man City next week, we're screwed." But for some reason, because the mistake, the lapses in concentration, they're kind of clouding the overall game. People aren't looking at the overall game, looking at one moment, and the moments we can't really help.
That's why when I talk about like goals conceded, like I'm not real. I saw the 2 goals that we conceded. I saw how they were conceded, and I'm not concerned with that because to be honest with you, the guys who were playing last night, I don't think Badishill's starting for us to start the year.
No way, he shouldn't be.
Yeah, Colwell probably does start, but he'll be next to somebody like Tossa or somebody with a little bit more experience. But I think Enzo's just trying to find, test guys in different roles now. I think,
and he hasn't had Palmer or Jackson back. He's not had Palmer or Jackson back, and Cucurella.
I'm not going to use that one as a reason, in my opinion, because that's only 2 players. I know they probably moved
they're
the
important
needle.
players though, Ches. You got Palmer.
I'm talking about. I thought we was talking about defensively though. I'm not even talking about offensively.
I'm just talking about the overall because let's be serious. We look good going forward. The fluidity's there. I like the link ups and whatever. But imagine you put Palmer in that and a striker, maybe like
if you put in Cuckoo or Jackson on the left,
just something.
Yeah, if you put Cuckoo Jackson on the left, you then play Palmer in one of the 8 positions, and then put a striker who's a natural striker like Amordadon or Usherman. This team transforms very quickly.
Well, this is
but
why
the only issue is the defense.
This is why I like the idea of maybe having Jackson off the left because I've noticed a lot of what we do going forward. We like to try and play balls in the box quickly at the back post, and there's been a couple of times where Sterling and Mudryk have been in the back post, and if not, they're just not there. But if you've got Jackson arriving in the box at the back, we've got another type of threat, if you know what I mean, along with someone up front, and I think that just gives us something else, But big up, Ed. Good to see you, bro. Hope you're well. So everyone can stop panicking and friendly games. Yeah, let's see, bro. We've got one more game against Inter Milan, which we're actually doing a live watch along, guys, on Chelsea Fan TV. So I'm going to see if I can try and set myself up here as well over there with this.
That's on Fifth Stand, right? I think they're going to play.
Yeah, that's on that will be. Yeah. We're doing a live watch along, me and Don, so we'll be on YouTube watching that game. in London. So that'll be good to watch. Let's go into player ratings, guys, quickly. Jorgenson, obviously the goal. I said, he done the right thing in trying to hold him up. I actually think if it was a Silva or Chalobah running back, they would have stopped that going in, personally, from what I've seen. But obviously, not Madueke, but Badiashiel's not reacted to the danger. I thought, other than that, in the second half, I liked how comfortable he was on the ball, and he was getting pressed heavily by Vinicius, Rodrigo, and others, Diaz, and others. And he was sort of using both feet as well. He's comfortable. He's not one foot.
Let's just keep it a buck. He had a solid performance. Other than the only thing with the goal, I think, though you just spoke about it before, the only thing I'd say is if he dived down a bit too early. That's it. Diving down too early basically meant
he should have got that ball.
Yeah, like he dived down way too quick, and that basically allowed Diaz, because Badiashile is just crap.
You think he should have just stayed on his legs and just gone like
on
that?
his hinges. He should have used his hinges and narrowed the angle down, and then But other than that, 8 out of 10. He didn't do nothing wrong. Passed out roll, didn't really lose the ball. He had a few shots to save, which he done. Corner, if you guys noticed the corners, he punched one out really fast. Sanchez doesn't really do that. He connected the ball quite a lot.
No,
Sanchez fumbles a lot. So I saw an improvement in the goalkeeper position. I'm not going to sit here and gas it up. But I saw an improvement. I don't know YouTube, but
he was so calm. That's the big thing for me, because in this system and what we're trying to do in it, and I keep saying it's going to expose a lot of people. It's very high risk, especially from the way that we want to play. You need people that are comfortable in positions to be able to play balls, and I think he's already proven to me, just in that one game, that he's probably better than Sanchez at playing the ball out already. Like, you can just see it in his cut. He doesn't panic. You look at some guys, they panic, don't they? Oh no, like they go a bit stiff. Like, he doesn't. He's just very. But it's early doors. We have to see.
I think one of the big things of the keeper, obviously, is the comfortability and the communication with those two center backs or three center backs, depending on where they're playing. And he's still learning that, right? They're all still learning, like he's going to learn where guys like to be, where they should be, learning to talk more. Like, all that stuff will come with time. It doesn't happen overnight. I like what I saw with his feet. He does move the ball really quick with his feet. His passing was nice. He distributed the ball well. Again, on the one goal, I do think that was his only real mistake of the game. He should have just came and collected the ball. I think he gave Diaz too much time and space. He could have and he had more time than he thought. But outside of that, I thought he was really promising. So
he needs to be tested a bit. I think he needs to be tested a bit more, though. Like, I've not seen.
Sure.
That came.
We haven't seen him under any kind of it's like a steady shot pressure or anything like that. Or
even so, guys. I know what you had to say, but even last year, the reason why Sanchez annoyed us because Chelsea had a lot of the ball in Poch's system. The issue is that when we needed him to concentrate, he wasn't concentrating. Against Arsenal was a bait one where we're winning the game, 60th, 70th minute, and he's kicking the ball to an opposition player. No pressure. That's our issue. It wasn't necessarily we were conceding loads of shots and he didn't really have a lot of shots to do. But when he did, he wasn't doing it properly. That was the problem.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
If Jorgenson could have a better head on his shoulders and just concentrate and have a bit of competition from the other goalkeepers there, he should be okay, man.
All right, let's move on to Malo Gusto then. We're just flying through these for you guys as we are. Gusto, I like Gusto. I always like Gusto. I do think the first half got caught a couple of times in the inverted role, which I think sometimes we overdo a bit. I think sometimes, if you saw in the second half, he didn't invert as much, but in moments, and that's why I think would work better. So that means he holds his position a bit more on the left, and then you have Enzo drop in as more of a pivot when we're deeper sometimes, which is fine. I don't mind that. But I like Gusto, man. I thought he had an okay game. He kept Rodrigo quite quiet, to be quite honest with you. It was the other side that was a bit of a pain, but good performance. Is he going to be our starting left back? Maybe to start with until Cucurella gets it. But what do you think?
Reese is going to be out for the first 2 games of the season.
Oh,
he's certainly going to be playing on the right side. I would imagine.
I think it's 3 games, isn't it?
Didn't he sit out the last game of the regular season?
It's 3 or 4 games. It's 3.
He's got a 4-game ban. He's got a 4-game ban. He's got 2. He got 2 red cards for straight red cards, didn't he? So you get a 4-game ban.
Yeah, but I think he set out the last game of the season, right? So maybe it's 3.
It's free. It's free.
Yeah.
I
think he did sit out one. Yeah, but he set out the last game. He set out the last game of last season, so that counts towards his ban.
Okay, cool.
But
Great game.
either way, yeah, I'd imagine you'll see Cucurella probably in that inverted left back role to start the
I
season.
low key think is a blessing in disguise because, like you just said, Josh, it will force Maresca to use Cucurella's inverted because of his Euro type and what he did in the last season.
Yeah.
And that way,
Yeah.
Gusto, either way it works. Gusto can invert or Cucurella can invert. But I'd rather have Cucurella inverted because I don't trust Cucurella on the overload in terms of transition. Whereas Gusto's pace, I think he's a better defender. So yeah.
All happy with Gusto though, yeah. Are we liking him in that inverted
I'll give
role?
him performance rise. I'll probably give him a 7.
I'll give him a 6.5.
So like maybe
Yeah,
7.
Yeah, he's right. He's somewhere in there, 6.5, 7. I think he was pretty good yesterday. He didn't have a lot to do offensively. He made a couple of nice through balls. I think that's part of his game that he'll have to sharpen a little bit this year. Is maybe that final third part of his game, because he's going to be involved a lot in that part of the pitch. But I think he's really, I like Gusto a lot. There's a ton of things to like there. So
we go on to Buddy Shaw, who I've done a lot of speaking on, and I'm going to be quite honest here. He was a 2-1 for me. For me, in the defensive order that we've got of defenders that we currently have left, he's bottom for me. I actually think he's bottom.
He's Conference League minutes. That's what he is.
Yeah, bottom.
he is Carabao Cup third round minutes. He is very average. And the thing is, after his injury, he hasn't come back the same player. And for me, he shouldn't be getting a look in this team. Like there's too many players better than him.
2-1. I mean, he's what kills me with him is he moves like a truck. He moves the ball quite well when he has the ball at his feet.
Like, he's good at passing. He's good at passing.
I got no issue with him with that. But what I do have an issue with him is what he's there to do, which is defend. He doesn't do it well enough for me. You know, he just don't. You know, we're going to be playing against people that are quick, people that are nimble, that can dribble in and out, and he's just too easy to get around. And he just doesn't read things quick enough for me. Maybe he can work on that moving forward, but I don't know, mate. Like, I'm still very up in the air with him. Josh, what are you saying?
I mean, it was one. He wasn't. I get what you're saying. He definitely lost the runner yesterday, and I think part of that comes with when you're playing so high. It's tough to have him on an island, like kind of one-on-one with a forward, which is sort of where he was yesterday. And that we were so high up that I think it was Diaz just ran right off his shoulder. Yeah, I mean, he's not a starter in the team for me. I'm not going to like bash him and go in on him. He's not a starter. He'll probably play some rotational minutes, play some Conference League games, maybe some cup games. I think he can definitely improve. Hopefully Enzo will improve him, and maybe having a role in the team will settle his mind. Maybe that will help him throughout the season. He won't feel like he has a lot of pressure to be a starter every game. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, it was an okay. He moved the ball, right? But I'm not gonna, not a starter for me. Put it that way.
Colwell played in a position that I've not really seen him play before. He played on the right side of the centre back.
Really, the center back, Jim. Really, I mean, if you did with Reece coming over, with Reece sliding over, it's kind of a center back role.
He doesn't. Again, there's a lot of hype about this guy, and he doesn't impress me that much. Like,
Me and my boy had a long talk about him last night during the game where we were watching. I was like, I think it's because my expectations of him are so high because of all the hoopla we went through last year with him, and him wanting more money and always wanting guarantees and wanting to be the guy. And I think so that comes with like a certain level of expectation in your head of what kind of player he is. I think the talent is exceptional. There is a lot to like there that he has, the ability that he has. He has some maturing to do for me. That's what I would say. Not necessarily in his game, but just in his attitude and his the way he plays mentally. Just needs a little bit of maturing. I think all the skill set is there, the passing, the talent, the mind for the game, like all that stuff is there for me. It's just a maturity thing for me. Like that, there's no excuse to be jogging back on that second goal. I think it was the second goal, or maybe it was the first goal. There's no excuse to be jogging at this level in preseason. And those are things I thought.
Those are the things I worry about with him when I talk. I don't have a lot of complaints about his game.
Yeah, but you got to remember though, like Josh, like people say he's a leader, he's this, that ain't a very good leader for him to do, jogging back. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, come on,
no, he's no lead. This guy, he's not there yet mentally to be a leader of anything. Again, my complaints with him don't have much to do about his game. I do think he can defend. I do think he can pass. I do think he has all the stuff. He's very young, Ed. You're right too. But like when I watch him play, I'm never like, oh, he can't do this or he doesn't do that. It's all, dude, get your head right, man. Let's tighten up a bit here. You're at Chelsea now. You got all the stuff you wanted. You're playing regularly. Let's tighten up the mental spot a little bit. There's no excuse to be jogging back when the team is running to score a goal. None whatsoever. And so hopefully that will get pointed out to him. But again, I do think he'll start in this team. Sure. But yeah, the mental side has to get better for sure.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a temper. He overreacts. He falls asleep a little bit too much as well. He does too much ball watching. These are little things like he needs to be doing better. There is a talent there in Cole, and he's still very young. But maybe timing.
No, but to be fair, Jem, like you got players like Caicedo and Enzo's who are the same age as him, but I see them as more mature footballers. Like the thing is that you can't. The age thing is not really a relevant factor for me because if you're good enough, you're old enough. I look at Vinny Jr. and Rodrigo; these guys are young brothers, and they're able to mature enough on the football pitch to make the right decisions. Josh is right. It's his mentality. It's not his age and necessarily like experience.
I agree. That's not what I'm saying.
I'm not saying experience.
I'm not saying he's young and immature. I'm saying he's just mentally immature.
He's just immature. Like people can't really say age like that. Yeah. Like there's players in our team like Jackson who. He might be clunky in the ball, but he's still the way he plays is good for a second season in the Premier League. Like it's just good. But Kiva Cole is like up and down. Like sometimes he's okay, sometimes he wants to jog back. He's just a bit lazy. He's a bit immature. It's not good enough.
It's a professional attitude for me, Jem. That's kind of what I say when I say maturity. I'm not talking about like if
he joined Liverpool.
Does he act like a kid? It's just he doesn't have that professional mindset yet for me, where it's like
if he joined Liverpool. I know John wants to move on from a place. So if he joined Liverpool, you would see a different kind of Cole because he's got VVD around him. He's got Alisson telling him what to do. You got senior players. Yo, Cole, fix up, man. You can't be jogging back. But here, because other young players around him, no one's really telling him to not do certain things. But even having said that, there's still players in our team like Cole Palmer, like Gusto, like other players who still perform to a certain level, even though they're young. Look at Gusto. He's still putting in the effort and maturing and. Even when he makes mistakes, he tries to do the most afterwards. Cole was a bit lazy. So let's just see. Anyway, we need to move on, but let's see improvement this season. Man.
Yeah, I just funny enough, I was talking to Don about it. Don says that he'd like and I'll ask you guys the same question. Who would be your two centre-back pairing starting? Like, who do you think? I mean, I don't like any. I'll be quite honest, I'm not sold on any of them, to be quite honest with you. But I would like to see Tosin, Colwill, maybe eventually Colwill, Fofana. I know Don just said he wants Badiashile and either Tosin or Fofana, which I was still that's what I was disagreeing on with him. Obviously, she's got Disasi who's come back in as well. I mean, how would you start? How would you start it? I think I'd probably pull more towards Tosin and Colwill, maybe.
Yeah, I'll give you my back four. I think for the City game, I think it'll be Gusto, Colwill, and Cucurella.
Tossing Cucurella, did you say?
Would be the two starters. I'm sorry. I think Tosin and Colwill will probably be the two starters to start the season.
Tosin and Colwill with Cucurella and
Gusto.
Yeah, I don't like any of them. Like I'm picking one, but I'm not even sold on it. Do you know what I mean? It's weird. Like I'm just like,
that's the thing. No one's pinned down anything yet. Nobody, not even Tosin. Tosin's had a decent.
This is a good thing in a way. I don't know if this is a good thing or it's copium, but like the reason why it could and not be a good thing, Josh, I'll tell you why. Is because if they're all 5 out of 10s, competition will only push them to 6. So it depends on where you think they are in terms of their level. I think some of them have potential to be 7, 8s, potentially. They're all playing around the 6 and 5. So even with competition, it's hard to choose the best of them at partnership because none of them are really standing out to be that good. Wesley Fofana is the only one I'll probably say his base level is probably good enough to probably like warrant a start. Tosin
yeah, so
probably more so.
it's
Even
funny.
Even
you say-
Tosin, I've obviously more so because he's played in the Premier League
Yeah.
recently. Whereas Farn's been out for 2 years.
It's
It's
funny
like-
you say that. It's funny you say that, Jay, because I was just looking at Fofana last night because I was having a conversation about him. I think his only issue right now is just fitness. He's getting back into shape. He hasn't played in a while.
Yeah, I think he's a good player.
I think last night was the first game I saw from him when he came on, where I started to get glimpses of the old Fofana. He was coming up, making strong tackles into the midfield, making tackles, winning balls. Like that was one of the first glimpses this preseason where I was like, okay, that's the guy I remember.
And the main thing is he's quick. He's
Very
quick.
quick.
Other centre
Very
backs aren't quick.
Quick,
So if you have him and James on the
big.
same side, him and
Yeah.
James on the same side, or him and Crystal on the same side, that's quite a strong right hand side with Palmer and that. So that's quite a good positive. The left hand side though, that's where the issue is.
Yeah, I mean,
If we had a good left centre back, I'll be so much more confident. Oh.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think one thing you saw last night is I don't think Maresca necessarily cares actual maybe foot wise who's on the left. Like he doesn't need a left-footed player on the right side, left-footed player. Like it doesn't seem like that's what he has to have right now based off where he's kind of played everybody. But yeah, I mean, listen, Fofana, once he gets back into actual game shape, this guy, the talent of this guy is the absolute limit for him. I could see him taking one of those center back roles real easily once he's back in shape.
The truth is, I don't really. We should really have Chalobah being one of them. Honestly, I'm not dying on that. So I can't, he's still a Chelsea player. Why are we not playing Chalobah, man? From what I've seen so far,
Chalobah again. Let's not do this, Jim. I don't want to go into this debate.
Yeah,
I like to be a humble guy.
You know right now that Chalobah is the one player that should be starting.
Jim. This is what you call recency bias.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definition.
No way.
And this is not me being disrespectful to your intelligence or not. No, I'm not really trying to be rude to nobody.
It's not even recency bias. I've liked Chalobah since Tuchel, to be fair.
Jim, no. I'm not saying you never deep it. My point can exist with yours. But my point is he isn't much better than everyone else. That's my point.
He is.
He says, no, he's not. Josh, do you know what I'm saying, innit?
I do.
This is the issue. I agree with your point. You might rate him, but doesn't mean he's good enough to be better than the rest.
Yeah,
he's better than what I've seen.
When it comes to some...
The difference is in all of this is the gap between Chalobah and the rest of them. Because Chalobah was the one that wasn't getting started most of the season, but then comes in and performs to a level which...
Yeah, why was that?
That kind of proves my point, Jim. That proves my point. That kind of proves my point. You have seen him less, so you rate him more. That's my point.
But that's my point. So why? I just don't get it, mate. I don't know
missed basically the entire season through injury last year. He played 13 games, and that's why everybody's head is.
His sample size is smaller, so of course, if he performs better, you're going to rate him higher. It doesn't really make him a better player, does it?
I disagree.
But
on that one,
by the way, I'm not saying this in hindsight. I'm not saying this because he's going. By the way,
because he's
I'm just saying
less, it doesn't mean he's better than these players. That makes no sense. But anyway, we move. Look,
Wait. Okay, fair enough. Let's move on.
All I'm saying is, yes, Chalobah has had his moments in his Chelsea career, but the difference from what I've seen since he returned is a bit more of a. I've seen leadership qualities in him. I've seen intelligence on the ball from him. I've seen his reading of his game better. If anyone's actually learned anything from Thiago Silva out of all the defenders that we've currently had here, from my opinion, it seems to be him. From what I've been watching of him, and what he couldn't have improved, I think he's improved, and that's why he looked better than he did. I think he looked very comfortable last season in the centre back, especially when he was with Thiago Silva. But then even without Thiago Silva,
no, but Jim, I don't want to go over dead. I don't want to go dead ground. But my point is this, yeah. My point is this. My point on the game has made a lot of sense. We need to hear it properly. The point is that because you've seen him play less, and he joined when the system improved and the team improved. I believe, in my opinion, they might be overinflating his overall ability. That doesn't mean you don't rate him. You could still rate him a decent level.
No, because the defense got better when Chalobah came back in with Thiago Silva. So my point is...
The team got better in general.
No, it didn't. The defense got better. We were leaking goals still. Left, right and centre.
We were fourth in the league. We were fourth in the league.
Ches, we were winning 3-2. We was winning games 3-2, mate. Until we had them in.
I'm looking at overall, though, we were fourth in the league in 2024, making it to 2 finals. The whole team improved in this year.
We just looked more assured.
It wasn't just one.
Anyway, obviously, we have to take Thiago Silva out of the equation because he was always going, and I get that. But for me, Trevor Chalobah, based on what I've seen with the defenders that we have and Trevor Chalobah right now, he would be starting for me. personally, especially even more in the way that we're playing now as well. So that's my opinion. I think he's better than Badiashile, in my opinion. I think he's better.
You play him left centre back, basically, is that what you're saying?
You know, it is what it is. I'm not saying like he's the greatest ever defender and whatever. I just think that maybe we should have thought about him more than Gallagher, because the quality levels, like with the Gallagher and the team in midfield, you can see that we've got with Lavia back now, the quality's there. We don't really need Gallagher, in my opinion. I could see why we didn't need it. With Chalobah and the quality levels of the defence without Thiago Silva, they're not like this and he's there. You know, everyone's just like here, or I think he's a bit here and some of them are here, personally. But we move. Reece James. I said this to Josh, I thought we got cooked. I thought he got cooked the first half. He had good moment. Like he had moments where he dealt with Vinny well.
Definitions of cook, Jim.
But listen, he was having problems down the wing the first half.
What did Vinny do in that game? He was like 2 of 8 on duels. He did absolutely nothing.
In and out of him sometimes. Literally skinned him sometimes, you know. And I was just like, Jesus, Reece James is getting a bit ripped here.
He danced with the ball out wide a couple of times. He did nothing though. He got one time in the box. A ball clicked off of James's ankle, got by him, and Reece still got the ball before he was able to get a shot off.
I remember shouting at the TV yesterday about Reece James waking up in the first half, because he was not awake for me. He wasn't awake for the first half. For me personally, I've seen Reece James, a better Reece James than what I saw in the first half yesterday. And he got better in the second half, but you know, maybe it was a position thing, you know, and he was caught one-on-ones a lot of times. But there was moments where I was just a little bit like, come on, James, man, wake up. Like you're better than this. Like, come on. Like, and that was what I just felt with him, like watching him. And I wouldn't say he was great. I wouldn't say he was bad. I just think he can be better, in my opinion. Being better, probably a 4 or 5 for me, for him. But that's it. What do you think, guys?
I don't know. When you go 4 out of 5 against Vinny and don't give up any fouls against him, I think you have a pretty good game. I mean, to me, he literally just basically just bullied him around most of the game. Vinny danced around with the ball like he does. Reece let him dance, and he did nothing after that. I think he picked up an assist on the second Diaz goal, because he booted it forward from like midfield, but he basically did nothing. You guys think it's cool when he dances around, but Reece let him dance around for a reason, because he's not doing anything while he's doing that. It's like
he went inside him and
do your circles. You're doing nothing. He didn't get cooked. Who scored?
He literally skinned him in the box and got in front of goal. And I think
Reece won the ball back 2 seconds later. What are you talking about? He didn't even get a shot off.
But anyway,
this is Vinny Jr. you're talking about. I don't know. Like Vinny Jr., I think most people would consider probably the first, second best player in the world, top 3, probably one of the best players right now. And he did nothing last night. So again, skin. If you like the little flick trick run to the.
No, it's not even that. I think you're missing my point. I just think his overall game in the first half, it might have been a positional side of it. How he was on the ball.
His game was don't let Vinny do it. His game was don't let Vinny do it.
How he was dealing with players defensively, in my opinion, was a little bit sus. I've seen him be better. That's just my opinion. I've seen a better Reece James in the first half, you know, in other games than I have in that first half. That's all I would say. I mean, not that he was bad.
He has definitely played better games. I can't argue there, but he was not bad in that game by any means.
But, you know, it is what it is. And I know, look, listen, Vinny's going to run at players. It's his game, and he's going to get round you, and it's just how you recover. And listen, he recovered sometimes. He slid in and I think managed to get in front of him when the ball rolled to Jorgenson and whatever. I remember that and whatever. But there was just moments where I was just a bit like, come on, James, like, wake up. Like, just, you know, especially being the captain as well. I just expect more from him a lot of the times, I think it is. Ches, what are you saying? He's probably gone. All right, let's move on from... that's what he's saying. Nothing. He's run. Let's quickly move on, because we've got to fly quickly through this now, because I literally need to come off soon. Let's go to. We just have to fly through this. Let's go to Enzo Fernandez.
You hear me now?
Yeah, we got you.
Yes. He's gone again. All right, let's go to Enzo Fernandez then. What are we saying? Performance-wise.
Yeah, I thought he played good. I mean, I think right now Maresca's asking him to do kind of a very specific thing, which is sort of keep possession, filter the ball, right? I think Maresca even said as much last game. Like they were asking him to play more of a midline playmaker kind of role, and that's not where they see him long term. But that's just sort of what they're asking him to do in preseason. I thought he did great, not great, but I thought he did really good yesterday. That ball to Noni was absolutely perfect. That's the stuff you're looking for from him. He had some really nice 1-2s. I think he had a beautiful through ball to Sterling late in the game, and Sterling does what Sterling does. But yeah, I thought he was really good. I'm interested to see kind of like where he does end up in the offense, like what his actual role will be, because I don't think we've seen that yet. But I thought he was pretty good. Yeah, I got no real complaints about him.
Yeah, look, I think Enzo can be better. My opinion, still, like I think he can obviously be better than what he's done. Everyone knows I like Enzo. I thought first off the left in that pocket, played quite well, comfortable, led well, got back, stuck in, played some good balls over the top as well, which is what we want from him. And then when you've got players that are going to run in front of him and make runs or run in behind, he's the guy you want. One of the guys you want on the ball, other than Palmer. Even Enzo Maresca's come out and said he's one of our important players. End of. So that tells me how much he's going to use him this season. So
yeah, I mean, I thought it was a solid game from him. I mean, he's just back with the team basically since the tour here, and I think he's played well. He put some nice. I think he created 2 or 3 chances. I think he played pretty well defensively too on the ground. He won most of his duels and. Not a lot of complaints for me. Like you said, there's definitely more in there, a lot more in there, but we'll see that over time.
Yeah, what about, I mean, just quickly, guys, Alfie Gilchrist has confirmed and left Chelsea to go Sheffield United. So he's out there on a loan. That's just been confirmed. Fabrizio Romano has put some pictures up of him as well. Let's quickly fly over to the next individual, which is Romeo Lavia. I'll let Josh start on this one. What do you think yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday he's been great in the preseason. Let me just say that. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. I don't think yesterday was his best game. He played a little bit of a different role, I think, to me. Yesterday, he wasn't as on the ball as he's been in the previous few games. But that, having Enzo there probably changes that a little bit. He's probably the guy you'd rather have on the ball. But I think he's been fantastic. I was really interested to see how Caicedo would do in that role. And when he came on for him in the second half, I thought he played really well in that position, Caicedo as well. So, Lavia to me was good, not great yesterday, but I'm very, very excited from what I've seen and really happy he's with us, hopefully healthy all year, because I think he's going to be a huge piece.
He's one of the players I like. He's very comfortable receiving the ball deep and playing, and he's played so many good balls over the top where we've actually been effective.
Absolutely.
And got around the back. I like the way he shimmies, the way he moves. I think yesterday it was more of the system, the positional elements of it, and I just felt in the first half that there were moments where he looked quite exposed in the midfield, and we just looked very open. And I was like, right, I don't like that. I need, but we improved the second half, and I think that was because we pulled Enzo a bit back in. And we had more of a pivot, and it was a bit easier for him to sort of like get around. And I think we need to be very clear with that. Like, yes, he's a DM. Yes, he knows the role very well, and he's shown that he gets stuck in and he gets around very well. But you can't just leave him exposed and just hope that he's on counters that he's going to deal with things on his own with the defense. Like if he's going to have to run out of position, and he's going to need some cover, and that's what we need to be a bit aware of as well when we do that. Yes, Go AM, good to see you, man. Newest signed. Oh no, the Lukaku is back. We're talking about Samu. Oh no, I mean we've already spoke about Samu Gayam. Yeah, I mean I don't even know what to say at this point. We'll do another show on him for sure, mate, and we'll talk about it once he actually comes to the club. Madwakey, Josh. Lots of mixed criticism. Has scored 3 goals in the preseason, 1 assist. You'd say on paper he's not done too bad, but. How do you feel? How do you feel about his performance?
I mean, listen, I thought overall yesterday he played decent. I mean, I think he's a guy, I said this multiple times in your stream. I think he is a guy, if he has the mindset to be a bit more of a team guy, could be like a 15, 20 assist a season player. Like he has absolutely that in his bag. I thought he was pretty good yesterday. He created some chances.
he scored a nice header, which was nice to see him score with his head. He did, man. There was I don't know if anyone picked this out. There was a play in the second half where they were absolutely free up the right side, and he came bombing sprint. I never seen him sprint so hard back to cover defensively, and I was really, really impressed to see that. I love when guys do that. It wasn't a great game. I mean, he's going to be a guy who frustrates people because there's going to be times where he does something awesome and it comes off great, and there's going to be times where he loses a duel. But I think for the most part, he was good yesterday. It's hard to complain. He scored a goal. I'd like to see him be a little less selfish sometimes in front of goal and square the ball a bit more. But outside of that, I can't really complain about his preseason. He's had a decent preseason. I think he'd be really nitpicking to like complain about him, but yeah, I mean, decent game yesterday again.
Yeah, listen, I like Madueke. I just think very wasteful in the final third. I think he could be better. I think he got kind of a little bit pocketed in the second half by the left back of Real Madrid.
He was more quiet. He was more quiet for sure.
I don't like him just being the only option on the right, which is why I keep saying to people, I think Palmer is going to play off the right, guys, because we don't really have many options. Over
to start the season.
Yeah. It'll be between Palmer and Madueke, and they'll bow, and that's fine. Maybe they improve Madueke at the moment, but I like him. I like everything. How he's good goal, by the way, good header as well. Got into the back post, show that. I like that. But his overall game, he's off the ball. He's like with the ball as well, and like getting in the good positions and noticing danger and playing it quick. Like he doesn't have that yet, and I need him to have that vision, because if he can find that vision, I think we have ourselves a good and even better winger. I just think he needs to improve his game a bit more, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about the same thing here. Just that final third, that decision making of when to take the shot and when to be unselfish is what he's got to really sort out. I think if he chose the unselfish side more often than not, he would really thrive. But he's young too. He's getting there. I got, again, no real problems. Just the things you talked about. Just a little bit better decision.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, let's move on to the next one, which is Christopher Nkunku. Some people very mixed with him, saying, "Oh, he wasn't that good." Some people saying he was okay, he's just done his thing, and some of us saying he can raise his game. I mean, what was your thoughts on him?
I mean, I love Nkunku, man. This guy's it's so refreshing to see and have him playing, even just in the preseason. His talent level is clear. His ability to me is clear. He certainly, I think, is best in that deeper lying playmaking role. He loves that. He loves to drop back, pick the ball up, play 1-2s, get into space. I thought he did that pretty good yesterday. Not as much as we've seen, but I think maybe with a slightly more polished striker or a slightly different profile striker, you'll see a little bit more playmaking from him. But again, I thought he was really good. Like, to me, even in his not best game yesterday, which is just basically him not scoring, he was still really threatening. He absolutely fucking skinned Tony. You want to talk about skinning? Tony Rudiger got fucking skinned. And he probably should have scored. He probably should have scored on that. I think he picked the wrong guy to pass to on that 3-on-1. He passed it to fucking Sterling, which is never the right idea. But he's awesome, man. If you're complaining about Nkunku, you should just go watch another football team, man. Because like, if you're really just being a disgusting human if you're like, I need to complain about this guy. I mean, he's just the level is clear there, man. The talent is absolutely clear.
It would be so nice to see him and Palmer in the same team, and that's what.
Yeah, no question, man. Yeah, don't forget.
Like, we got,
and imagine if they do pull off a Victor Osimhen move. Now just on name alone, teams will have to like really respect that striker position, at least initially, just based off of the name, and that's really going to open up space for him.
And that's what he's great at doing. And listen, he did have the best of games yesterday, but I said to people, he did have the worst of games. You know, he was
right. What he does, not his best game, but even not his best game, he was pretty decent. He should have probably scored twice yesterday.
He should have, and especially in the second half, I'm used to him. He would have usually like chipped the ball over the goalie and in. That's what he's usually good at doing. But you know, listen, I love Nkunku, man. People know I've wanted this guy for a long time. Him,
like
Gusto.
If you're complaining about Nkunku, you got
look in the mirror or something, man. Like he's a
Mate,
fun
yeah,
player
there's
to
so
watch.
many games last season where I was like, if we only had him up front, maybe we would have actually
Yeah.
like just in them arriving in them boxes and then chances that we actually were creating. Like you just know he will put them in the back of the net. He's just that guy, you know. It's
For sure.
he's just quality, and I can't wait to see both of them on the same team. To be quite honest with you, and I think that will be the difference for how we play moving
Big time.
forward. But it's yeah, I ain't gonna moan about him. I think he was good. I think one player we can maybe moan about a little bit is the guy that's on a lot of money at the moment, which is Raheem. And I mean, he's had a good preseason up to this point.
Yeah.
You know, you can see why he was started. He'd done quite well, but yesterday he was just very wasteful. Listen, he got behind, played a good ball across the goal. No one was there to tap it in. There were little moments where I was like, okay, yeah, good. And then it was most of it. It was just losing the ball from dribbling, not passing the ball quick enough, and he was going back into his bozo ways. He always has in bozo games, doesn't he? Where he just doesn't do just does the most dumbest things, and he just frustrates me. But I think he just goes along with most of the team.
Yeah, I mean, everyone. I think most people know I'm not a fan of this guy. I don't really like his game that much. I will absolutely say he's been our best left winger in the preseason for sure. But yeah, yesterday's game for me off the bench, I think Sterling would be an amazing option. The problem is he's on like $350K a week, and just off the bench is just unacceptable at that wage. But yesterday was the prime example. That is the Raheem Sterling we saw all year last year. That is, I think, who he is mostly. He does everything. He gets in behind, 10 out of 10. He gets into space, 10 out of 10. He can do 1-2s in the box, 10 out of 10. He can't finish. He can't dribble. And unfortunately, those are like the two main things that he's going to be asked to do from that role. And it was frustrating to watch yesterday. Even the ball across the box, it got through, but that pass wasn't that great. It probably should have been dragged slightly back. I mean, Nkuku was not that far off of it, but it's a frustrating game yesterday. Not his best by any means this preseason, but to me, that's more along the lines of what we'd see from him throughout the season. Is what you saw yesterday.
We go.
But I'm only Jim. I'm not going too crazy on this because I do know he'll be gone next year. So it's like if I have to put up with him for this one more season, it is what it is. But certainly, I think a bench role would be ideal for him.
Yeah. Mark Guiu, I mean, he had a quiet game yesterday, I'm not going to lie. I like his game. I like the way he links up the play, gets in behind, reads well. He helps. He does help the system because of his technical abilities. I do want to see Jackson there, though, because I think Jackson does what he can do with the ball as well, maybe a bit more. So that'll be interesting to see. But, you know, I like Mark Guiu for what we got him for and what he offers. I think he's a solid striker. I think there's a good promise for him in the future. He just needs to show me that he can find the goal a bit more. You know, he's got that eye, but then again, we need to create for him more. Do you know what I mean? At the same time. So,
I'll say this about Gui because he gets, I'm so many people now. It's like, oh, why do we bought Gui for 5? Why do we buy Samu for 35? We got Gui. It's like, okay, Gui costs. I'll say a few things about Gui. Everything you said was true. He looks good. It looks like a promising striker. He's got nice technical ability on the ball. He makes really nice runs. He knows how to read the game well. These are all super positive things. He's a big boy. That's also positive. But let's pump the brakes a bit. He costs $5 million. He's 18 years old. He has scored once this preseason, I think, on a nice little header, but he's also missed a ton of pretty easy chances, in my opinion. Yesterday, I think he had one. He definitely should have scored. And so, no, I'm not worried about this guy if he goes on loan. I mean, he costs $5 million. He's ours. It's not like sending him on loan means he goes like he's going to leave back to Barcelona or something. It's just he's a good. There's a lot of promise there, but I'm not putting any linchpins into him being like the third striker on this team. Everything you said about Jackson is true. Jackson does a lot of stuff he does, but better. He's a much better dribbler. He's probably first touch is better than Gui's. But yeah, solid young player, really good buy for $5 million, but definitely probably needs a loan. And I won't be upset at all if he goes on loan. Some people I feel like want to riot if this guy goes on loan, and I'm just like, I have no idea what you've seen to warrant that. But
this is my thing with it. I think we need to have 3 strikers. We have a lot of football this season, 70+ odd games. There's Club World Cup football conference, all of it. Yeah, there's a lot going on. I don't mind him staying. I think he brings options. You don't know what's going to happen with the strikers as well, with injuries, whatever. Do I think Alomu's a bad idea? No. But at the same time, do I think he could just be, if he's happy, be on the bench and get some minutes on cups and conference and maybe some other games? Yeah. Does it help his development? Not exactly. But it depends what we do with this whole Victor Osimhen thing, because if we are getting him at the end of the season, and if you've got Samu, you've got Jackson, then he goes on loan for me. We could use Jackson as a left, and you've got Samu and Osimhen as like your 2 strikers that could play. So you've got them options. It's just what we have available. Washington needs to go on loan. He don't need a chance. He needs to go on loan.
Yeah, he's going on loan. He will go on loan.
He's definitely not ready.
I'll say this:
out of all of the ones that I've seen, he's the most promising. Now, I'm not going to lie. Like in terms of the ones we brought up, I
agree 100% with everything you just said. If we do not get Osimhen, which I still hope we do, but if we don't get him, then I think he should stay as a 3rd striker. I think he's better than Broha. I can say that right now, just from what I've seen. I think there's way more there right now to be that's more promising than a guy like Broha. So yeah, I mean, if we do get Osimhen, then I think a loan absolutely would be great for him this year. Whether it's in where, I don't really care where they send him, but a loan to play, that would be great. And then next year you'd still have 3 strikers, which is what we're looking for. And Jackson does offer that versatility of playing on the wing. So it all hinges on that Osimhen deal. If Osimhen doesn't come, then I would be totally fine with him staying as the 3rd striker. I got no problem with that.
Yeah, 100%. I like him. He's good. What do you think about Mudryk quickly before we finish off? Mudryk and his performance. He came on, so again, mixed views on him.
Listen, Misha. Like I give him a little. I thought he's another guy who I think does a lot of good stuff. His first touch is fucking all. I think his first touch is incredible. He's got to get. He's a weird player to me. He's such an enigma, man, because the fans are so split on him. I actually think he's extremely talented, and there's a lot to like there. He showed it in that second half. There's definitely some ability. He made a beautiful. He took the ball off a guy and just bombed down the pitch on the ball. Probably made a poor decision to shoot. He should have played through. I think Noni was there. He should have played him through. But these are things, I think he's a confidence player for me. He's a guy who thrives when he's playing regularly. I thought at the end of last year, that 4 or 5 game run he had the last 5 games before he got viciously attacked in that last game, I thought he was playing really well. I think he wasn't scoring every game, but he was playing really well. And so, I think once he just gets more familiar with the system and gets a little bit more of an opportunity, there's a ton there to like. But it's hard to rate his game. I think he played 25 minutes yesterday. There's not too much you could do in that, but whatever. I'll let people have their opinions of him. If people don't like him, they don't like him. It is what it is. He's 23. I just like to see him get opportunities. That's all.
Yeah. Fez, shit. That's straight away. That cracks me up.
Listen, people can feel that way about him. It is what it is. They don't really have much of a sample size to say that, but whatever. He needs minutes and games. He's still young. He hasn't played that much football. Even at Shakhtar, he was only there not that long. So these are things I take into consideration when I look at players. Most people just go with whatever their retarded heads are telling them at the time. So we'll see. He's young. We'll see how it happens. We don't have that many wingers right now on this team. So he'll probably get some chances, some opportunities, and hopefully he'll take them. That's pretty much all you can say on him.
Guys, we're going to have to finish it off there because we need to come off 2:30. I didn't know that. It's flown, man. We're done at 12:45. Listen, we'll be back very, very soon. We'll probably do a preview, hopefully do a preview on the Inter Milan game as well. And any more news and transfers we'll obviously bring to you as well later on. Over 300 people here today as well. Big up to every single one of you that are here. Josh, big up to you. Thank you as well, bro. It's been a good show, guys. I've enjoyed it. Take care of yourselves. We'll be back again very shortly. Peace, guys.